Hello and welcome to Winchester Now. I'm Mary Blaxland. On today's programme, Winchester gears up for the Coronation. We have details of some of the celebrations. At this historic moment, we hear memories of the last coronation. And we ask people in the city, will you be swearing allegiance to the King? We have our roundup of news, shout-outs and a visit to a local attraction that's 120 years old.
Winchester Radio.
Winchester is preparing to celebrate the coronation of King Charles III. It's a moment in history. The last coronation was 70 years ago, and for many people it'll be the first time they've experienced such an event. In our city, many events are planned, and here's Anna O'Brien with a roundup of some of those taking place.
King Charles has visited Winchester in his role as Prince of Wales on many occasions, most recently last year for the opening of the Ark and to see the statue of Lucretia, and our city is preparing to do him proud with our coronation celebrations. A service of thanksgiving for the King is being held at Winchester Cathedral on Friday night, featuring a massed children's choir of 200 young people and military musicians. Special flower displays have been created along with a set of green and gold banners featuring images of the King, representing his interests in the environment, young people, faith, architecture and the military. On Saturday, the coronation service will be broadcast via TV screens throughout the nave and a large central screen by the altar. There will be a festival atmosphere in the square in the afternoon with entertainment and walkabouts from hat fair performers. It starts from 1 p.m. The bells of many churches will also ring out. New ringers have been training for months with special Fit to Ring for the King practices taking place at various locations. There are many planned Ring for the King performances, including in Twyford and at Winchester Cathedral. Across the city and beyond, the bunting and flags are being pulled out and many neighbours are taking the opportunity to get together over the bank holiday weekend. The City Council has approved more than 30 road closures to allow street parties to take place. There will be a party atmosphere in many of our villages with some special events that have been in the planning for months. There are coronation big lunches in Itchen Abbas and Avington and in Micheldever with picnics or hog roast, competitions and community singing. The King Charles pub in Kingsworthy is hosting a weekend of activities to honour the King whose name they bear. It includes a cake competition, dog show and live music. The village is also hosting a party worthy of a king on Bank Holiday Monday with music, a barbecue, stalls and entertainment. Down the road in Easton, festivities include a scarecrow competition, children's activities, teas, cakes and bar. Churches Together in Alresford are having a special Songs of Praise on Sunday in St John's with a picnic beforehand. The church has a display of history of the coronation with 1953 memories, along with artwork from local school children. And in schools, pupils have been learning more about the history of the monarchy, past, kings and queens, and the significance of the service at Westminster Abbey. They've been making thrones and crowns, dancing, dressing up and singing the national anthem. Children at Harestock Primary have been given coronation seed packets to plant at home. Many tourist attractions are putting on their own special commemorations. There's a right royal celebration on the Watercress line on the Sunday afternoon, with people invited to bring picnics and enjoy an afternoon of patriotic music and entertainment next to a specially dressed coronation train. And if you get a chance, do take a trip to Oliver's Battery, where talented knitters have made a special postbox topper to mark the occasion. It features the King and Queen, Archbishop and flowers, and looks absolutely incredible.
Well, during the coronation, the Archbishop of Canterbury will invite people to pledge allegiance to the monarch wherever they're watching the service. But the proposed oath has caused some debate here in Winchester.
I personally will not, because I don't really agree with the monarchy too much. But yeah, if people want to, they can. I personally just won't.
Will you be watching it on Saturday?
Unlikely, yeah.
Will you be swearing an oath of allegiance to the King?
Absolutely not. I think it's silly. That's all I can say, really.
Well, he's going to be the monarch, isn't he? So I guess so, yeah. Yes, very simply, yeah.
I was armed forces, so swore an oath of allegiance to the Queen in that respect, but I'm no longer in it. I don't think outside of that I would be too worried about doing that.
I think it's a little bit old-fashioned. I don't really think it sits very comfortably with me.
Are you going to be swearing an oath of allegiance to the King?
I'm not sure about that, but certainly be watching it and being quite enthusiastic. Yeah.
What about you? What are your thoughts about being asked to swear an oath of allegiance?
I have to think about it at the time, though.
But you're definitely going to be watching it. You're going to be having a party or anything like that?
Oh, joining some friends for the day. Yes, yeah. So we'll be raising a glass.
Yeah, I would imagine I'll be doing it.
You're going to be watching it on Saturday?
Yep, along with the family. You know, it's a once in a generation thing, so yeah, looking forward to it.
I think if people are happy to do that, then they should, but I imagine a lot of people won't want to do that.
What about you? How do you think it's something you'd do?
No, it sounds like I do. I'm happy to celebrate, but not that bothered about it, no. We're going to just have a little garden party with family.
Not a clue what that's about. Not at all. Sorry, what?
It's just whether you're going to be swearing an oath of allegiance to the King.
I will.
Why is it important to you?
I suppose it's my age. I've been brought up with the monarchy. I was here for the last coronation, so...
Lovely, and you're going to be celebrating it on Saturday?
I will be, yes, with friends.
And it's good, yeah, I'm all for it, and yeah, I'm sure he'll do a good job. He's waited long enough, so I'm sure it'll be fine.
However you're planning to mark the coronation, Hampshire County Council's Archive Services would like to hear about it. They're wanting memories so future generations can look back and see how historic royal occasions were celebrated across the county. They're asking for photographs, film clips, audio recordings or other materials, either from Queen Elizabeth's coronation in 1953 or from the upcoming coronation of King Charles III. Residents of Headbourne-Worthy House near Winchester are having a coronation party, and I asked some of them for their memories of the last coronation.
I think I was probably about 5 and I was growing up in the United States. We didn't have a television, and so you got news either from radio or if you went to the movies. And of course at the movies they had the newsreels. That's where the coronation came in, and I'm sure I'd heard of such things as kings and queens, but I didn't really know what it meant. And then when I saw the coronation, it was so obviously magnificent that I was very impressed. It had the part where they put the crown on the Queen's head, I think, and I thought, so that is what it is to be a queen. Wow. So I was very impressed.
And looking forward to the coronation coming up?
Do you know, they make such a magnificent day of a big event that it's really fascinating to watch it from beginning to end. They have so much commentary with the history and the background, and they explain all the bits and bobs, and that makes it a very interesting day. And of course it's different, and we'll all be on holiday.
I lived in a road of 150 houses right on the edge of Birmingham, and they collected money round the houses for months before the coronation itself, and we were going to have a street party with the tables out in the street. I've no idea how long that would have been, because on the day it poured with rain, as you probably remember from all the newscasts. And a local factory, which was at the end of the street, lent us their canteen. So we had what at the time we regarded as the most amazing tea, because we had all sorts of sandwiches, and mostly on rationing you had jam sandwiches or spam sandwiches, and that was it. And we had masses of different sorts of cakes that all the mums had made. I remember we had a conjurer to entertain us and singing lots of patriotic songs as well. And then we all came home with a carrier bag. As I say, it had a coronation cup and saucer. It had sweets, which in those days I think they'd only just come off ration. We had a paper crown and a set of mint coins for the coronation, which actually I've still got.
Must be fond memories.
Yes, very fond. Yes. So we'll see what the coronation party's like this time.
Well, I was living in Northern Rhodesia and I was coming home. So on that actual date, I was on a train going down to Cape Town to pick up the boat to come home. And I don't think they did anything special on the train, but when I got home, a neighbour had taken a photograph from his television to show me. It was great, yes.
Basically, we got about 4 days off boarding school. We watched on television, 9-inch screen, and all my parents' friends came and crowded in our lounge, and we were all peering at a 9-inch screen, and it was brilliant, and poured with rain that day. But it was a lovely day, and everybody was thrilled, and the Queen looked wonderful, and, we had a jolly good time.
We were given half-term from boarding school, and we stayed with my grandmother at Hindhead in Surrey, and my mother, my sister and I went up to London and walked up the Mall with those wonderful, wonderful arches and the crowds that were all gathering.
What was the atmosphere like?
Tremendous. I mean, just seeing people enjoying themselves and all the decorations, which was so unusual compared to dirty old London. London was filthy, and all the bomb sites. Yeah, it was just a contrast from the last few years and how grey everything was, just to see the colour. It was lovely.
Winchester Radio.
The polls open tomorrow in the local council elections. In Winchester, 16 seats on the council are up for grabs. There are also 20 parish council elections. Voters are reminded they need to present photo ID at the polling stations for the first time this year to be able to cast their vote. Now for some of the other stories making the news in Winchester this week, here's Steve Walker.
Winchester's neighbourhood police team have conducted a joint operation with licensing teams to crack down on drug use in the city. Officers used a rapid scan machine to test people for traces of drugs as they entered venues, with a negative result being a condition of their entry. As a result, 11 people were stopped and searched by officers, and 4 were issued with a community resolution for possession of drugs. The operation was conducted following concerns by venues about drug use at their premises. A fire has damaged a section of the Winnell Moors Nature Reserve. The moors in the centre of Winchester are home to wildlife including kingfishers and roe deer. Local residents dialed 999 after spotting smoke and have praised crews for putting out the fire so quickly. The cause is currently under investigation. Interviews have been taking place for the role of Bishop of Winchester. The Right Reverend Debbie Sellin is currently acting Bishop of Winchester following the retirement of Bishop Tim Dakin in February 2022. The process involves representatives from the diocese, archbishops and representatives of the Church General Synod. The final appointment of a new bishop is made by the King. Winchester's first books festival that we featured in our programme 2 weeks ago has been declared a success. Organisers say that more than 1,200 people attended events held in a variety of venues around the city, including workshops and talks by a number of well-known authors. University students edited a festival film, which is due to go online in the next few weeks. The new play area in Abbey Gardens has finally opened. It features new play equipment, surfacing and seating. It closed in September last year and had been due to open for Easter. The council blamed bad weather for the delays. Award-winning actor Tommy Jessup will be guest of honour at a garden and craft fair next Wednesday. The Line of Duty star will be opening the event at Upper Farm in Headbourne Worthy. The event is raising money for Winchester Gold, which supports people with learning difficulties and helps them to live independent lives. And that's the news this week.
Hi, I'm Paul Blitz, and now it's time for our community shout-outs. Congratulations to Winchester RFC on a successful season. All 3 men's teams have been promoted and their second team won the Hampshire Shield after a hard-fought game against Totton. They're now looking forward to a great awards evening to celebrate. And a thank you to the volunteers from the Friends of King Alfred buses who brought out their vintage vehicles onto the streets of Winchester again this Bank Holiday Monday. Hundreds of people enjoyed taking a ride on the heritage buses on various routes around the city and the villages. This year marks 50 years since the closure of the King Alfred Motor Services. A special mention for a team of Winchester College pupils who were runners-up in an international sustainability competition. They were competing against 1,290 teams from 116 countries worldwide for the Earth Foundation Prize. The Winchester College scheme is looking at the production of biodegradable plastics from food waste, and the college says it will be investing the prize money back into the project to try and make a difference in the future. And finally, a shout out to staff from Winchester Hospice who headed over to Wales to tackle the famous Penny Fan to raise vital funds for the service. They were being joined by some of the supporters from St John's Winchester on this mammoth walk. They set themselves a target to raise £1,500 and have almost doubled that amount. Well done.
Winchester Radio.
May the 1st is not only an important day for the King Alfred buses, but also a regular open day for the Twyford Waterworks. Hundreds of people enjoyed a day out at this 120-year-old visit attraction, and Anna was among them.
On the outskirts of Twyford, on the road to Morstead, is Twyford Waterworks, an Edwardian pumping station containing a unique selection of buildings and machinery within a rural downland setting. While Southern Water still own the site and still extract millions of gallons of water each year from the original boreholes, the Twyford Waterworks Trust obtained a lease for the redundant parts of the site in 1992 and have restored much of the original steam-powered pumping machinery to working order. The Waterworks had its first open days of the year over the Maybank holiday. Volunteer team leader Alan Down was looking after the main Hawthorne-Davy steam pumping engine and told me a little bit more about its history and that of the now unique water tube boilers that produce the steam to drive it.
The steam engine is 110 years old. The boilers driving it's nearly 120 years old. Pumped water for about 50 years here at Twyford and was left derelict for another almost 50 years. The whole lot was going to be demolished and the trust was formed in very short order in order to take over the site, preserve it. We got the site listed as a scheduled ancient monument and now we've got it all back in working order again. So come and visit.
As well as the steam pumping engine, the charitable trust has preserved other aspects of the site, including the water softening plant and narrow gauge industrial railway, which was running over the weekend. All this is set in a 5-acre site. Away from the buildings, the land is managed as a nature reserve, which attracts a rich mixture of birds, mammals, butterflies, dragonflies and other insects. A nature trail guides visitors around the reserve where they can enjoy the remarkably peaceful surroundings. Like most charities, the Trust relies heavily on volunteers. Matthew Feldwick, Vice Chair of the charity, spoke about the volunteering opportunities that are available at the Waterworks.
There is vast amounts of machinery that needs working on, plus of course we're in 5 acres of grounds which are proper pure Hampshire chalk downlands and they require management as well. Lots of things to keep you busy. So volunteers are on site every Sunday during the day and on Tuesday evenings between 6 and 9 p.m. We're looking for people who not only have an interest in machinery, old and not so old, but those who are interested in wildlife, those who are interested in talking to people about the site and what we have here.
Here's Alan Down explaining why he spent over 30 years volunteering at the Waterworks.
Working with the old machinery, working with all my colleagues here. You might call those old relics as well, but we love our old relics.
For Estrella Brown, however, this was a new experience as she was volunteering for the first time over the bank holiday weekend.
I have to say that everybody has been super friendly and really, really welcoming, and it's a wonderful place to volunteer and to bring family and friends.
Twyford Waterworks is usually open to the public on the first Sunday of each month between now and October. Please note though, with the King's Coronation at the weekend, the next open day is planned for next month on Sunday the 4th of June. On these open days, a range of other heritage exhibits are also on site. I spoke to Michael Hillary, who had brought along a steam traction engine that his grandfather bought brand new over 100 years ago.
I'm lucky enough to own this old 1910 traction engine, and it used to belong to my grandfather. He bought it brand new in 1912 and he paid £568 for it then. And it's worth a little bit more than that today.
And it's been in the family since it was built in 1912?
Nearly all the time. Unfortunately, somebody else bought it for a while and I was lucky enough to be able to buy it back.
And tell us about your passion for preserving it, because it certainly attracted the crowds here today.
Yeah, there's always something to do on a steam engine, and every winter we have to check all the boiler fittings and make sure everything is first class, because in the spring we get a boiler inspector out and he's very thorough and he will check all the boiler to make absolutely sure it's safe to use in front of the public.
Now the engine obviously is used for open day events like this, but in its working life, tell us how it would have been used.
Well, what it used to do was drive a threshing machine, and you'd park your threshing machine next to a rick in the farmer's field, and they would feed the straw and corn into the machine, and what it did, it separated the corn, which would go into sacks and would be used for making bread and things like that, and the straw would come out the other end, and you could use that for animal bedding. Now, as well as driving the machine, it would also haul it from farm to farm.
The open day attracted a wide range of visitors, from hardcore steam and heritage enthusiasts to families with young children. The young people were interested to know more about the steam engines, and especially the strange black fuel that was powering them.
How fast does it go, mate?
And what is the speed?
Well, we do about 7 miles an hour if we're lucky. And another thing they ask is, why are you putting those black stones on the fire? Because a lot of them have never seen coal at all. And of course it runs on coal.
What is coal? Where does it come from?
It's good to see that charities such as the Twyford Waterworks Trust and their teams of enthusiastic volunteers are restoring and maintaining our heritage for future generations.
Well, if we didn't do it, the future generations would never know what went on in the past, and I believe that's very important, because in the push-button age, they have to remember that years ago men worked with big hammers and big spanners and kept these old things going so we could eat as a nation.
For more information about Twyford Waterworks, including volunteering opportunities and details of their open days this year, you can visit their website twyfordwaterworks.co.uk or find them on Twitter and Facebook. Anna O'Brien in Twyford for Winchester Radio.
Finally today, news about our peregrine falcons at Winchester Cathedral. William and Winnie have welcomed a chick. Other eggs failed to hatch. Bird experts say Winnie is a big champion. 27 chicks have fledged in 13 years. She nested at the police headquarters from 2010 to 2016 and at the cathedral since then. Webcams monitor the birds and are followed by thousands of people each year from Winchester and around the world, and we'll keep you up to date on the birds in future programmes. That's all for this week. We hope you enjoy the bank holiday weekend and any coronation celebrations. We'll report on some of those next week, and until then, goodbye.